Hello? Hopefully my mic is okay. Hopefully it's not too loud. Audio also, or music. Is it too loud? I can't. I can't tell. But anyways, welcome. Hey, thank you for the sub. Yalu, welcome. You're early today too. Let's go. So today I'm just gonna be... I'm not gonna illustrate today. So I'm only gonna be testing out an animation. I'm gonna be looking at some references and all that stuff, so I guess this is kind of a study. But for the most part, it's more like test animation. And you know, me testing things out. Let me just clean up my table. My table is just... There's way too many stuff on the thing, so... And also, if I have like a weird lisp or something like that, that's because I'm wearing retainer and I'm like... I have a mouth ulcer, which sucks. But it's so common right now because it's cold and I've been eating a lot of spicy food, so... You're animating again? 2023 must be a new movement for you. I mean, I guess. It's been forever, I guess. Now that I think about it. Because back then, I do remember, like, animating every day and shit like that. But as time goes on, I just do not animate anymore. But honestly, can you blame me? Illustrating is so much more faster to see the final results. And here's the thing, sometimes the process isn't way too fun for me, okay? I just want to see the results because it's satisfying. Alright? It's satisfying to see the results. And animating, yeah, you don't really see the results quicker compared to illustrating. I mean, yeah, there's some illustrations that are like... It takes months to finish. But if it's in comparison to animation, nah. I can't blame you. Drawing the same thing over and over is kind of crazy if you think about it. Yeah, it's just insane. This is why I hate the process of tracing, because you're just literally doing it all over again. And probably the reason why I don't do line art. Okay, let me just find my reference here. And then the clean. GG's to your mental health. You're always on the edge also. Especially when doing line art or cleanup. Because it's so boring. The process is just so boring. I guess we'll... Oh, I need my underbrush for this. I don't want a complicated brush for this. Hey, Vish, welcome. And also, this is gonna be a really boring process. Because again, it's animating, we're not gonna see that much here. Oh, and the reason why I'm doing, like, if you're like making a project or whatever, doing some animation tests is like getting a sample of like not how the overall thing is gonna look, because this is more like a general rough output of what you're planning or what your project is gonna look like. It's a super rough one, but I do recommend it if you're like planning on animating and stuff like that, or having a project. It's kind of like making concept art, you know, but instead of concept art like the regular one, illustrations and all that, this is more on animation. You have no idea how unboring this is for me. I mean, back then when I was like learning animation, I have to look really close or pay attention to what the animator is doing. I'm like, oh my god, how did he do that? Let me go back. I have to rewatch over and over. I mean, yeah, it's exciting if you're learning, but once you get like to a certain comfortable level, you're just like, oh my god, it's this process. And honestly, big respect to like those who are actually making big projects and stuff like that. Even small ones, they just take forever. Oh yeah, I'm also gonna be animating in fours. So basically, in a nutshell, animating in fours is like, you see this frame here? This sequence over here, or you can see this one over here at the top. That is showing the seconds of the animation, and I just have my whole thing set up to like 24 FPS. So it just basically means that there are 24 frames in a second, and that's it. It's pretty self-explanatory. And animating force is just basically, you know, 4 frames as the space. So for now, we're just gonna deal with like key animation first, which are just basically major poses or poses that are quite significantly different in comparison to this. How many FPS do you usually prefer? 24 is like the most basic. Actually, it's like, what do you call this? The standard. Because most animations that use probably say everywhere are just generally running on 24 frames per second. And there's really no need to go higher. Honestly, there's no point. This is, again, the higher the frame rate, it doesn't matter. High FPS only matters if you're like playing video games and you're actually like inputting commands. But since you're only just watching, there's no point for like higher frame rates. You're just like permanently writing or having motion sickness. Does anime not use 12 FPS anymore, or do I not know what the fuck I'm talking about? It used to be. I think that's like the oldest one. But it could be because if we're like animating on 2s, which is basically 2 spacing between frames, people call that as 12 frames per second. But I really don't call it that way. It's still 24. Most of like animes out there. You're probably the 12 one is probably like older ones. Also, I'm gonna be super up. this is another difference between like animation versus illustrating. I'm gonna be just super rough. There's no point for me to like be super clean. We're focusing on the movement here. Don't try to give a shit about like anatomy and all that stuff. Smoothie, welcome. Also, if you're like a beginner, I guess I do recommend starting off with 12 frames per second. Because you just turn your brain off from like, oh, should I animate on 1s, 2s, or 3s? It really doesn't matter. It only matters if you're like, for example, I want to animate on 3s because the movement that I'm trying to show is slow. But if it's fast, I'll probably do 1s or 2s. These are probably gonna sound like a bunch of jargons when it comes to animation, but it's really not that hard to know them. Here's a dumb question: how many frames per second do you think that of this war in 10? I have no idea. People think that the higher the frame rate, the more smoother it is. Not really. You can have 24 frames per second, but have a lot of fucking drawings within that. Or, you know, 24 drawings in order to make it look smooth. But then again, you don't have to animate every single fucking inch of a movement to make it look smooth. You just need to make sure to space them evenly. Or, you know, get good. The chicken, yeah. I'm betting it's 24 frames per second. It's just there's a lot of drawings to it. Again, most of the media that we consume is on 24 frames. And typically when it comes to animation, because there's no point of going up. The only reason why it looks smooth or it seems smooth is because of how it is drawn and animated. Yo, Glenn, welcome. Where did you learn your art style? I have no fucking idea. It's more of me experimenting. Like, what if we try to make our outer lines thicker? And then if I liked it, then I'll stick to it, and that's it. And it's pretty much like a domino effect. Like, oh, we should try to shade this, and then I keep it, and then it goes on and on. And it's not like I'm adding so many things at once. It's actually bit by bit. So thicker lines, and then moving forward, oh, maybe I should add my multiplies or have some shine or glowiness to it. So I add those. And that's just it. And then another one is like, oh, maybe I should add more shading to the skin. I kind of like how it looks or how fleshy it looks. And then I do that. It's, you know, step-by-step sort of thing. I add one thing, and if I like it, I make it my regular thing. Art style is just a combination of different preferences and choices while drawing. Yeah, basically. Your process, your philosophy, preference, and all. Basically, your character. Your own identity. Another animator has a different rough stage. I've seen some people draw real scribble while other construct a bit more real scribbly. Other people would just use stick figures instead also. Because it's just much more faster. Again, we're prioritizing the movement. We don't give a shit about the design just yet. Because the movement is much more harder. Because if we're like concerned about the design, that's not our department. That's like the character designers department. Because if the movement isn't good, then we have to like start off from scratch again. I really like your characters. Thank you. By the way, I actually put a suggestion on your suggestion box today. It was like more lives. It happens that you got on today. Hey! Yeah, I haven't been live streaming for a while. I got bombarded with like a lot of commissions than I expected. And I couldn't do them live. Because I'm much more slower when I'm live streaming, apparently. Like one or two sketch can like go for 4 hours. I mean, I get it because I'm chatting. And I typically just cannot do both at the same time. Because I remember when I did the pre-recorded ones, 2 sketches or 2 line arts, you know, 2 pieces of line arts for inking, only took me 2 hours. Maybe you should limit commissions again. I mean, yeah, it's pretty much close again. I'm only taking the ones that are like have their sponsors there. And also, there's another construction going on, and it's so annoying. Onion skin is only good for like keyframing. I don't recommend like actually doing some tracing or cleanup with onion skin. I much prefer to like use the light box over here, which Clipsio has. Cause onion skin is too messy. Like you can look at this and I cannot. I cannot understand what I'm looking at. So it makes tracing much more difficult. But we're not gonna be doing in-betweens just yet. I mean, I can do some throwaway keys to like check out if the movements are like looking smooth or something like that. I don't know if I can make it. I just use onion skin when animating visual effects. Otherwise, I just go back and forwards to compare and see the movement. Yeah, that's one of the techniques, and actually a much preferable one. Just go back and forward, because you can actually see like the rough movements of how it's gonna be look like. But I should set up like a much more better shortcut key for that. Love 80s music, let's go. Yeah, you'll probably hear like a random soundtracks that I just have here. So yeah, I'll definitely gonna get copyrighted instantly. But honestly, I don't care anymore. I get most of the support and stuff on Patreon anyways. Oh, so it's not copyrighted? I'm gonna get copyright strike. Or I don't know. I really had no fucking clue on how YouTube guidelines fucking work. I mean, it's always been like terrible. Like, it's not even the actual song that, for example, I'm playing a music or something like that, and then it got like a copyright strike or something like that, or claimed, and it's not even the actual fucking song. I just, why? It's automated, I get it, but come on. And she's going way too quick. I want some brains here. Oh, I forgot. I have no storyboard to this, so I'm just like winging it out. I guess this is considered like a straight up or a straight ahead animation because I did not just fucking plan this. Typically, people would rather like do some storyboard first because, you know, having a plan is just much more better. And winging it is never really a good thing, especially if you don't have like a clear action or movement you have in mind. I don't recommend doing straight ahead. You're just up to having a recipe for the disaster there because you'll probably redo a lot of stuff. Actually, what add more here? It is supposed to be an in-between, but I want to see how it goes. I want to see it swing. Oh yeah, I forgot to like post like a question and answer Q&A kind, or just a suggestion box on Instagram. Because I've been thinking of like, not really thinking, because I was just listing down of fan art to do. Because I think it's been a while since I've done some fan arts. And I miss the feeling of it, come on. Nowadays I tend to plan almost everything. When I started, I would just straight ahead in the animation. And in the end, you could see characters changing size and flickering. Yeah, you're just bound for more inconsistencies there. And mistakes. It's just a bad idea, basically. I mean, it pretty much applies to a lot of activities, like even in illustration that can apply well. But in animation, I think it's much more preferred to do it that way. Bleach and art one. Oh yeah, I also have Grimjo in mind on the list. But it's quite a short list. I have, again, Full Metal Alchemist. I want to do some more fan art to that. And I think I've drawn Edward recently. Or Ed. What else? I'm definitely having Grimjo on the list. There's probably a lot more. I mean, there's a lot of fucking characters in Bleach, but I couldn't think of anyone else to draw. Maybe some fairy tale. What else? I think that's the only ones I have for now. Oh, maybe some God of War too. I wanted to draw Heimdall, the annoying one. Oop, I did not mean to add more. Rats with his 6 swords fan. Man, it kind of sucks that I cannot eat anything spicy. What about Street Fighter? Like Ryu and Akuma or something. Oh yeah. Man, there's so much fighting games that I used to play back then, but for some reason I just cannot remember them anymore. There's also this fighting game that transforms into like animals, so basically fucking furries. But I think it's a PS2 game. But I forgot what it's called. Even Digimon fighting games, I used to play that a lot. Bloody Roar. I think that's the game. I'm actually searching it now. Because I actually love that game. The head dude from God of War. War fan art. Ibuki. For the win. There's also a lot of characters in Street Fighter now that I think of it. But of course the most basic one to go to is Chun-Li. Bloody Roar? Yeah. I should list that now. Because I actually like this game. Because it's like one of the early games that I played with my friends. It's kind of like our discount Street Fighter. Because there's no Street Fighter on that console that we have. I think that console was homebrewed. Because he has a fuck ton of games on it. Dan from Street Fighter fan. Will this be going with Street Fighter, huh? What's a classic? Let's go. Yeah, it was super cool. And I'm actually glad I discovered it. because we just couldn't play Tekken. We couldn't play Tekken in Street Fighter because there's none on that console. Never heard of Bloody Roar, but it looks nice. I mean, I think there's no new iterations of it, so yeah, it's pretty fucking old. Actually, hold on. Let me get a bathroom break. We're past 1 second for this animation though. Let's go. Oh man, this is gonna take forever. Betting. Anyways, BRB. Back. Where's my uncle from Jackie Chan's Adventures fan art, right? Oh my god, I forgot it existed. Yo, that used to be the shit when I was a kid, okay? Like, Jackie Chan had the fucking anime. Let's fucking go, bro. Let me just take a drink first. Our music is like intense, but what we're doing is like completely fucking boring. Animation takes up a lot. I guess if we're like animating a fight scene, this would be much more exciting. But I have not animated a fight scene in forever. I actually want to get in like 3D for, you know, the backgrounds and stuff. But honestly, all I need is to just learn Blender. Like, all I need is to just learn how cameras work in Blender. Insert some random assets that I can find for buildings or backgrounds. And how to export it. I get so confused on how to export stuff on Blender. I'm just like, okay, I'm not learning this software. And I just got hard stuck on never learning Blender. Which is sad. I heard Jackie Chan Adventure was big in the Philippines at one point. Is that true? Yeah, Philippines love Jackie Chan. He's like the only Chinese dude that people knows. Everyone loves Jackie Chan Adventure. Yeah, what are you talking about? It's probably like one of the only animated show that we get to watch early on. Again, anime is kind of scarce back in the days. And Jackie Chan is just, you know, a well-known dude here. Funny enough, Jackie Chan is the only Chinese dude that Americans know besides John Cena. The Bing Chilling. I mean, yeah, back in the days, that's pretty much it. Even in movies, because you know, Hollywood movies are also like kind of big here, or kind of normal here to see. Realize there hasn't been a Jackie Chan movie in a while. I mean, is he retired? Because that pretty much sums it up. Let's not raise that arm just yet. We need to have like some sort of initiation first to make it look like this arm is gonna go up. I think he retired from stuntman work since he was like 68. I mean, pretty much explains it. Oh yeah, and that's also what he's known for. He makes his own stunts. And a lot of people kind of look up to him here. Or just basically, he's the only Chinese dude that they know of. The size is gonna be fucked up. That's fine. For now. It's coming along. He's still doing movies, but hasn't done American movies for like 4 years now. Oh, so it's just not American. I guess that makes sense. I mean, we can put some throwaway keys there to give you guys like a glimpse on how it will look if it's smooth. Last American movie he did was a Nut Job 2. I have not heard of that. Actually, okay, speaking of movies, apparently most movies that are coming out right or recently has been good so far. Like, sheesh. Or nothing too terrible, at least for now. Let's have his head racing instead. I'm also like using a basic ass structure of the human figure here. So in that case, if I want to put a design on it or a character design on it, it's not gonna be too hard. Or I basically have a base now. Ooh, my cursor is getting jittery there. It's probably because of this. If you guys didn't know, do you guys even see it? This part or this circle here is like, I don't like a trackpad. And, you know, my other arm is like reaching out for the keyboard. And when it touches it, yeah, also affects us. This is why, like, shortcut keys when it comes to tablets, or you know, other more features to it, or buttons to it. I actually don't like it. I already have my keyboard to like do everything for me. I mean, other people, they like having this extra stuff, but I never liked it. Because sometimes it just makes the tablet look ridiculous sometimes. Or it has way too many or too less to some. And it's kind of like, you just don't end up using them. Sometimes, especially once you got used to like using the keyboard. If people use the tablet's buttons, other people actually like doing it or using it because it's much more easier. But to me, I actually cannot get into it. I don't know. Is definitely a preference thing. I just much prefer the keyboard, man. There are some other remotes like call this like toolbox or that Wacom remote or something. People much prefer using those because of ergonomics, I guess, or just much more faster when it comes to the computer. And I guess if you're like using a screen display tablet, you really don't mind the keyboard. But if you're like using this kind of tablet where it doesn't have a screen, it's really weird to use the keyboard to some people, I guess. Because you put them at the side, you put them in front of you, you know, that sort of stuff, and it just takes up so much space. But honestly, I really don't mind it because I'm using a laptop, and it's all in front of me anyways. I actually had a much more harder time when using this tablet I have here at the side, which is a screen display tablet, because I need to have my keyboard at the side instead of at the front because I can't reach in or reach in the front right here because the tablet is on the way and I have to look down. So I have to put it on my side, and it was just not that comfortable compared to this. Then again, it might be because I'm not super used to it. There's a lot of factors. My tablet is really close to me, so if I would use the buttons, I would really need to really squash my arm. Oof. And also because back then when I was still starting out in digital art, I'm basically a noob. Shortcut keys isn't really like big on me just yet. Like it's still not my main thing just yet because which is pretty obvious considering if you're like still starting out. But once I get to know like shortcut keys and realize that it's much more faster, I stick to it. Because back then, if I remember, my own tablet has like it has a fuck ton of buttons. I think it has 12 side keys or shortcut keys here at the side. And I'm like, normal functional stuff like zooming in, zooming out, and stuff like that. And that was good enough for me. Again, that was like me starting out in digital art. But once I get to know more shortcut keys, and I need to know more shortcut keys because my process is like slowly getting more and more complicated, and the fact that I'm like trying to get into animation, I need the shortcut keys. You need the shortcut keys. And I just don't like the look. But this is more like a nitpicky kind of thing. I just don't like how the tablets look if they have way too many buttons. It just looks goofy to me. Just give me a simple tablet. Just a drawing space. That's good enough for me. Because other people wouldn't really be using this. Other people would probably use a remote or something else they prefer. Stuff like that. Oh, they're drilling again. Hopefully my mic doesn't pick it up. They're drilling stuff downstairs. So yeah, noise has been like crazy lately. Most people I know use keyboard instead of the tablet's buttons, but I believe it's because I'm more on pixel art side. And since most people start on keyboard and mouse, they may get really attached to use the keyboard. Oh, yeah, pretty much. But it's, I guess my case was more on because of like, uh, yeah, me being a noob. And then a part of me is like, well, the buttons are here on the side, might as well use them, huh? And then I discovered the art of using the keyboard is much more awesome and it looks and sounds way better. Your mic is not picking up any background noise. Let's go. Cause for some reason I live in a province But for some reason, it's just noisy. Like, why? Our neighbors just cannot go on a day without making a noise. My mom is always doing stuff for the house, construction or renovation or whatever, stuff like that. And I really hate it. Like, this location sucks. Especially if there's a typhoon. We're really, really, uh, vulnerable when it comes to flooding. So there's no point to like having a pretty house. Like dead ass. I remember that time we have like a couch, you know, with sofas and shit like that. Because of the flood, we have to throw it out. Because we couldn't get it like in a much more higher area. Like there's no point. There's no point to make a pretty ass fucking house here. But no, my mom is like so what do you call this? Persistent. Making this house presentable. Like I visited some of my friends' house. I mean they probably have like different other properties, but typically it's just a cement and like a roof. It's basically simple. You have everything you need. It's not pretty, but you have everything you need. And I'm like, I'm down for that. That's good enough for me. But no, my mom is like so persistent about this kind of stuff. I'm like, we're at the location where it really just floods so often. There's no point. Having a second floor is enough. Yeah, this is looking jaggedy. I could try to do this, which is basically put in some blank in between. This might be a little flashy, so warning over that and disclaimer if you can't or don't like seeing flashy stuff. But I'm gonna zoom out. It's rough, but it works. I can try to like make some throwaway keys also, which are just basically squiggles, basically. And like give it a little bit more rough guide. Of course, this is gonna be changing a lot more on the future. Like, I'm not gonna be animating on 2s exclusively. Typically, when I'm animating, it's a mix of 1s, 2s, and 3s and 4s. But the most common is me animating on 2s. Might like to buy new stuff on any chance she has, even though we have quite expensive bills to pay. For example, she bought a new couch even though we already have one, and it's really awful. And then we have 2 couches. We don't even need it. Like, how many people needs to fucking sit? Like, yeah, and that's another thing too. Most people that is like living here right now, none of us barely have like a secure job. I'm only barely getting whatever I can when it comes to commissions. But no, my uncle is unemployed again. My aunt, I have no fucking clue how she fucking lives. My mom, no job, obviously. And then my siblings, which are a bunch of minors and kids. Like, we have only one source of income, and I fucking hate it when they do shit like this. We have bills to fucking pay, and there's like, what? Most of you guys are unemployed. I hate it. And they think it's okay to be I mean, this is pretty much like every breadwinner's problem, every firstborn Asian problems. It's quite common, which is much more unfortunate. But basically, they treat me like some sort of retirement plan instead of actually, working back in the days, like to get an actual retirement or clearer retirement plan instead of using their kids for it. Hey, welcome to Asia. Again, I'm just doing some keys. It's just a bunch of squiggles, honestly. It's very flashy, but that's the style that we're going for anyways. Oh, and yeah, the style that I'm gonna do here is, what do you call it? What do you even call that style? But you guys are familiar with, like, Ed and Eddie, or that one. Oh, that ending from Jujutsu Kaisen, where it's just a bunch of squiggly lines on most frames. It's basically not clean looking, but the movement is there. That's what that's what we're going for. But yeah. Guess I'll go for much more with the over here. They can warp reality to their will. I mean, there's probably more cartoon characters that are powerful than Thanos, my dude. Man, I still miss 2000s Cartoon Network stuff. We were robbed, bro. And the shit reboot that they're remaking is just a shameful thing. I actually forgot what kind of next pose we're gonna go for. This is probably gonna be a little bit harder than usual because we're kind of low-key animating dance. And I think they're much more harder, especially if you don't have reference. Because I find fighting animation is much more, I guess, easier. But that's because of me just having a comfort zone, I guess. Being comfortable with it. And it's just much more easier to, like, you know, do some hacking or, like, cheesy strategies when it comes to making a fighting animation in comparison to dance. Because when it comes to dancing animations, especially if you don't have reference, you're gonna be drawing a lot of poses and the character is just always moving. And I guess that depends on the dance also. Reminds me of Kick Sense and ED. Oh man, that's, I love that ending. I think there's like a Pokemon version of it too. Actually, it has I think it has like a lot of versions because it was kind of like an animation meme. And yes, it is pretty much really good. I have no clue about the anime though. The only thing I feel sad about is whenever I would search for it on YouTube, I can only find the 60 frames. Damn, that's really. I mean, it has been like it is an old one, and it's really one of those things that are like, you know, not typically the trending formula that YouTube has, and they tend to be forgotten in the abyss or could be deleted. And why people do that, it just doesn't look good. Yeah, because it's completely shit and unnecessary. It only looks good on like looped animations. And it just basically violates the principle when it comes to animation. And what I mean by that is like number one key when it comes to like especially in the principles of animation or you know how to make good animation is like how the in-betweens are spaced out because it indicates or shows the impact of like uh Is it like a heavy motion or is it like a smoother, flowy kind of motion? If it's like automated 60 frames per second, it just looks like vomit. It's just robotic as shit. And people are like gaslighting, like, oh, it looks super good. Nah, bro, it looks like fucking mush. That's like saying that mac and cheese that is microwave that is probably left over for like 2 months. That's like saying that is good food. Like, nah, bro. Instant pasta is better than that shit. And I don't know why people are obsessed with that kind of thing. Not to mention that is basically like a whole genre or made up a whole genre. On YouTube. I think I also saw like a video ranting about it too, which pretty much put the nail in the coffin. Like, yeah, it just turns everything to mush. I guess people just like to see like smooth blurs going back and forth. This is why normal people or like normies, what do you call this? What's a better way to call that? Like people in general that has no fucking clue on how this works. They're so easy to impress. Like they're so easy to fucking impress. And they're so gullible. I mean, yeah, even the ordinary dude can distinguish good and bad animation. It's not like they don't exist, but they are fucking rare. Lay people? Not sure if this translation is correct. Don't quite sure how to call them. But basically, people just not have a single fucking clue or frame of reference to distinguish from bad to good stuff. Like they would think that the animation do you guys know the anime that has like that moves like 4 frames per second? I don't even know if I can call it. It's an old ass fucking anime though. Anime that moves in 4 frames per second. It's an old ass anime though. And it's pretty much a meme. It moves 2 seconds at a frame. Let me actually copy the link. And introduce you guys. Fake animation. Oh yeah, and here we go. Noodle. This guy is basically a YouTuber that is like pretty much explains that smoother animation doesn't equal to like a good animation. I actually hate. I mean, it depends. There's some animations that looks smooth but has zero fucking impact. So I'm just like basically looking at a wet noodle as a way to describe it. Yeah, I can definitely tell they put effort to like fucking drawing every frame. But the movement obviously looks wrong. But if an ordinary person takes a look at it, they're gonna be like, oh, it looks super smooth, but it doesn't look good. And again, it's about frame of reference, I guess. If you don't like, if you're not introduced to like, good stuff, high quality shit, you really cannot tell or distinguish. or point out what is actually good or bad. Hey, it kind of loops. Kinda. Twinkle Girl Noir. I think that's the title. I think there's a lot more anime just like this. Basically, an anime that is like that just looked like a PowerPoint presentation. It's so funny. I'm pretty much iconic. Or basically the golden example of like golden example of how not to make an anime. The fuck is the anime? It's not the only one. I guarantee you that there's probably a lot more. I forgot the other one. But yeah, it's basically a meme. Also, it became a meme because of it. It's like firing every fucking animator in the house. But hey, I actually like old anime, especially with shit like this. I actually don't like recent new animes. I mean, there's ones that I like, but I do notice that I only like one or two animes that's like recently been put out there compared to me back then, where I just like watch every fucking anime when I was a kid. I remember how the creator left the anime to look for his Nora. Oh man, it must be preserved. So funny. And yes, it is the golden example of like, don't do this. If you want to get into the industry, don't do this. That anime looks like those old handheld games from back then when you couldn't afford a Game Boy, the bootleg ones. Yeah, that pretty much sums it up. Let's have some throwaway keys there. It doesn't have to. You don't have to like trace every fucking line there. You could just do this. Dead ass as like a rough in between. Again, we're talking about rough throwaway keys. The reason, and I guess the reason why we call it throwaway keys, you just throw it there. You know, you're gonna throw it away anyways. Just something to have there temporarily. Okay, I'm trying to picture like the sequence on my head, which is a bad idea. I should have planned this through. If you look at it now, it feels like it's kind of static. And what I mean by static is just, you know, the spacing is equal, which makes sense because we're just animating in twos. So, if I want to like make some parts or sections of the whole sequence here, I would either add like another frame to make it turn into threes or be animated on trees, which is basically just tree spacing. Let me just find which ones. Like, for example, this part over here. You can kind of see that the pose isn't all too that different. This here, here. Not this one. Here, here, here. But usually this too. You can add like another frame here. Only one. So this is a tree now. That holds up 3 frames. Or we can add another one here. To make sure that it's like actually going slow. And you can kind of see it's also longer in that part. Oh, and yeah, I only recommend using trees, this type of thing, when you're animating something really slow. It's also possible to use fours, but the in-betweens has to be like really fucking close. Like, for example, this is the previous frame and this is the next frame. That's good for making fours or using fours. But trees can also, or animating on trees can also work. No, I'm just laying out the spacing. Okay, now it's too slow, too many sections. I'm gonna delete this. And if I want to make it go faster, I can just make them as ones or something like that. I'll do that on the smear frames, like in this one. Because it's going fast. I mean, I can also remove this smear frame. It's really not that necessary to have two smear frames. So most of your animations are done on force, is that what you're saying earlier? That's only in like the starting section. You know, if I'm just doing the key animations. And what I mean by key animations, it's basically the key poses. Key poses are like, for example, this pose is way different to this pose. But basically, this is A going to B. So no in-betweens when I'm animating on force. But once that beginning part is done, and I'm starting to add in-betweens, that's where it gets messier. It's a mix of ones, twos, threes, and maybe fours, but that's much more rarer. So it's kind of like storyboarding when animating on force. I mean, you can go further, but that's just how I typically explain it in a nutshell. If I'm gonna summarize like my beginning section of when making an animation. Oh, then I need more movement here. Oh, we're already like 2 seconds. Cause it's impossible to like have a smooth, especially fast-paced animation if you're just animating on fours. Theoretically impossible. Because the pose is also significantly different. Have you seen Charge Man Ken? I have not heard of that. Bruh, it's almost 2 a.m. and I'm learning how to animate. Would you rather animate a run cycle 16 frames on fours or 6 frames in ones? I have no idea what you just said. I don't even animate run cycles either. I mean, I probably did it once and never again. It's not the kind of. It's not even an ordinary or, the most common running cycle that you can do, also. It's like. I think the last one that I've animated was a mix of twos and threes, I think. If I'm going much. If the run cycle is much more faster, it's a mix of ones and twos. Again, it's really not that consistent. It's a mix of everything, pretty much. Ones, twos, and threes, basically. I start with four, and then that four is disappeared, basically. And it works. It strangely works. Because, movement isn't consistent. Or I guess if the movement isn't static, for example, there are parts in this animation that go slow and then go fast. So I have to use a mix of one, twos, and threes. But if it's something like a run cycle, and if it's a static one, pretty much any can work. I did animate a run cycle back then, but I forgot. I forgot if it's like. I forgot how many frames that is because I don't count. There's no point in me counting. And all this stuff that I'm saying about ones, twos, and threes, that's only like the surface of it. I still much prefer or recommend for you to like uh get a hang of the actual, or get a look at uh the actual fundamentals first before diving deeper to like other techniques and complicated stuff like that. Oh, it's kind of meant to be like a challenge question, more frames but slower, or really fast but less frames to work with. So 16 frames, basically here, limited to here. Where's my blue tab? This is the only caveat, I guess, on Eclipsio Paint. I feel like the timeline is much more better on Adobe Animate. So that's like once on 16 frames. That's basically 16 frames in total. Oh, 6 frames in once. This is actually plausible. Step here. And probably step here. There's some follow through that you need to do basically. This one is possible. But if we're like going for 16 on 4s? On 4s? Really? That's so jittery though. Not really jittery, but more like... How do I say it? Because if you're like... animating on 4s, you can definitely see or feel the pauses. Bro, I'm really dumb. I just noticed 16 frames on the 4 is like 4 frames. Yeah. I mean, we're talking about 24 frames per second, so if you're like 16 frames per second or even more, maybe it's a different thing. Again, that can also be a factor. But that's why I always stick to 24 instead. It just makes things easier. And simpler. Is this bugging out? I think my brush is... Oh, it's not. Oh, why do you look so dark there? Let's see how she's looking. I don't like the... That's for sure. Master Yoda, welcome. Need an in-between here. And another frame here. The reason why I'm adding this is for the follow through, which is basically means that it makes the movement more natural. Oh yeah, there's also like different ways you can draw a smear frame. Others would draw like the arm here and like a smeary line like that, or just the whole thing, whole fat ass shape, and probably more. Oh, that was way different. Unsure about this end part over here. Yep. Guess I'll do something to the legs. It looks too boring. It's just it's low-key looking like what that Drake dance and shit. Yeah, it looks in low-key looks like that. Oh yeah, the playback is also kind of terrible here on Calypso. But at the same time, I can't justify Adobe Animate. It's just way too many crashes. Or Adobe just has like way too many. What do you call this? Not so good trade-offs. It could have been great. They could have been great. Only thing I really don't like on CSP is managing the timeline, and that sometimes the replay just stutters. Yeah, it's much more. The playback is much more. I guess terrible in comparison to Adobe Animate, and the timeline is. I think the timeline is better on Adobe Animate, but the drawing experience is just so terrible in Adobe Animate. Like, if I use this, scrubbing or sliding across the timeline, you can see it's not smooth. Like, you can see my hand going like this and this, but it's so not smooth here. But in Flash or Adobe Animate, it's much more smoother. So yeah, their timeline sucks, but it's much more precise because it's used on anime. And anime doesn't really, or to be specific, they only animate scenes, so they don't really animate anything longer than, or anything too long. It's only like a few seconds sometimes. Which is fine, and you kind of need a lot layers anyways when making anime. But if you want like, I guess a much more animation focused software, I guess I would recommend Animate. But it's Adobe, and that's the only caveat. And don't like, I mean, there's a lot more animation software this is out there. Heck, Adobe Animate is basically Toon Boom for babies. Toon Boom is much more complicated. Never tried Flash/Adobe Animate. I started on CSP for digital. I wish there was something like a sprite, but for digital. It's so clean and it's efficient. I mean, there's probably a lot more like a sprite. I think I heard of this before. Yeah, it's for pixel art. Yeah, it's pretty much simple. It's so simple. And there's actually dedicated software for like, yeah, pixel art, right? Or pixel animation. I mean, it is possible on other softwares, like, what do you call this? Not traditional, I don't think I would say that. I guess generic ones? Or the mainstream ones? Or common ones that you've probably heard, like Photoshop, for example. Yes, you can animate stuff on Photoshop. Do I recommend it? Not really. It's basic. The animation features there are pretty much basic. You're not gonna see anything. You're not gonna see any features dedicated for animations if you're gonna go there. But yeah, animation softwares tend to look complicated. Like Toon Boom, I think, is probably one of the most complicated ones out there. Because it actually has like rigging features and stuff like that. But actually, Clipsio Paint is like, it has a learning curve to it, but it's pretty much as simple as in comparison to Adobe Photoshop. Like, it has animation features, but in comparison to Photoshop, it actually has dedicated features for animation, like for example the lightbox. And again, it's because Clip Studio Paint is like focusing on the market of, you know, anime. So you're gonna see like features dedicated for that one. Especially the lightbox. It's still pretty much traditional as it gets. While other softwares probably has like, you know, automated in-betweens, especially in Adobe. But it's too complicated for me. Or sometimes it's just not as effective as you would expect. I know some mandolins and animate on Photoshop. I tried it once and it was not the best experience. It as basic as it gets, literally frame by frame. You don't. I think there's a timeline on Photoshop, but it's again basic as it gets. I think there's also animation features on Krita, and I guess it's similar to that. Belly, welcome. Actually, let me get a bathroom break for a bit. BRB. Hello. I'm back. I also refilled my water. I tried Korea as well, but just don't like drawing in there at all. I actually, some parts of their interface, I kind of don't like it. But again, that's just a nitpick. Overall, it's pretty much fine. And I guess if you're using Windows, you'll probably gonna have a slightly displeasing experience. I've heard that it's much more better if it's like if you're on Linux or something. But if you're using Windows, the blame is on Windows. And I honestly understand. Windows sometimes it's just a dodgy a dodgy software for some reason. Or operating system. Like shut up. Like don't make me update, please, for the love of God. But if you're just focusing on like illustrating, there's actually a lot of alternatives or other softwares out there. You have a lot more option basically. Well, there is also options when it comes to 2D animation. I wouldn't exactly say they're cheap. A lot of them are actually pretty fucking expensive. I mean, and they're like free softwares. For example, Blender also has that feature. Grease Pencil, I think. But it's a 3D application. Or basically what I'm saying is the interface is complicated. Or just not as comfortable as I expect it to be, I guess. It has a learning curve basically. Friend of mine tried to recommended me to try and use Grease Pencil. I might try to do a simple project with it this year and see how it goes. Although getting used to Blender 1 billion shortcuts is a pain. That's why I'm saying, the interface. Like, I have to basically start from scratch again. I have to learn the software, I have to learn the shortcuts, I have to learn how it works and all that stuff. And a part of me is like, I already know how to animate in 2D here on Clipsio Paint comfortably. I couldn't see myself another point or a reason to use a grease pencil just to animate in 2D. So, you know, my brain is like, why not just learn the 3D parts or functions of Blender? Because it's just much more reasonable. because that's the actual part that we don't know to use. Because if I'm just gonna learn how to make a 2D animation on grease pencil, then it's kind of a waste of time for me. Apart from learning the software and getting to apply some of its features, like uh, giving it a much more 3D look to it. But there's a much more easier to do that sort of implementation. For example, if I want to implement 3D moving backwards, I can pretty much do that on Clip Studio Paint. All I need to do is like have the materials done in Blender. Not 2D, enhanced 2D. Yeah, pretty much. And if we're like talking about the type of animation we see from, what's his name again? It's pretty much well known as an animator of Blender, despite people are still fucking asking on where he fucking animates. He's a French animator, I think. And I actually really like his style. Where is he? Let me just search. Dedos. I think that's how you pronounce it. But yeah, he implements 3D and 2D in Blender. And he's pretty much known for using Blender. But of course, if you're like an animator, prepare yourself for like 2 billion users of asking you where the fuck did you animated this or what application you're using. But I do want to like uh delve delve in more when it comes to 3D. But I probably have fucking a lot to learn. Like rigging, sculpting, getting rid of the box. France have some really good animation schools, doesn't it? I've seen a lot of people having degree from there. Not sure if it was France though, somewhere on Europe for certain. Oh, definitely France. Definitely France. In fact, they're known for their animated shorts. And they do outsource anime also. But yeah, they're pretty much well known in the creative field. Heck, let's count the whole Europe, whole Europe in the narrative. They're definitely not doing the Western norm where everyone fucking uses CGI. Heck, the animators or the ones who created Arcane or animated Arcane is from France, I think. And they're known for that style, that art style they have in Arcane. And honestly, I'm jealous. Like, goddamn, they have so much cool fucking animators there. And we're still hard stuck on, like, being barely alive. Yeah, our country is not very good when it comes to art. Like, people here use this Comic Sans for promotional stuff. I've lost faith here. Because I think the animation clause, if you guys know that, it basically is like 2D animation, but it looks 3D. And they're basically, I think the animators there are based from Europe. Yeah, they're just basically making cool shit aesthetically compared to whatever the West is putting out. Because the West recently is like, you know, everything looks like the Boss Baby. But thankfully, because of Spider Verse, that is like changing a bit, and Disney is like low key dying, getting ratioed by our homie DreamWorks there, which is honestly not the first time they got ratioed by Shrek. And we love to see it happening. And hopefully they do step up, or else they're just gonna be known for that one animation company. I don't even think people think of Disney as an animation company anymore, honestly. I don't think people perceive Disney as such anymore. It just, they're more focused on making shit for Marvel and Star Wars, I guess. Or you know, the big names. The big boy names. Disney is an evil come to me since 2019. I mean, yeah, pretty much that's how people see them. That pretty much sums it up. Oh, I think ended up trying to polish this, which is not very good because I'm definitely not sure on how this would look like, or I'm not liking how this is so far. Neighbors are arguing. I think they're picking on the kid. The fuck is wrong with them? I swear to God. I mean, I shouldn't be surprised. They're like fucking boomers. Oh yeah, just think of every formula of like the worst Karen that you can imagine. Cringe and sadness whenever a friend of mine wants to work for Disney. Oh, honey, you do not want that. I mean, some parts of it is fine. But in general, I mean, honestly, if they want to work for it, the only thing that is worth coming out from that is that you work from Disney. Because, again, to an ordinary person, that's pretty much a flex. But to the people that actually work there is either like that is like hell, bro. What the fuck did you just do? Again, experiences are like different. Others have like a positive experience out of it. Some really doesn't have anything too good to say from it. It's really different. People just aim for shit companies all the time. The biggest companies tend to have like shitty treatment. I can tell for safer most. Surprised that they didn't prefer to work on illusion instead. Like it's much more palatable. Work there instead, I guess. I want. Man, this is too fast. It's really just this part here at the end. Oh, I'm zoomed in. Yeah. When I'm animating, I need to zoom out in order for me to see the animation or the results of it. The playback is not that good here. I guess it has something to do with optimization. But come on. A part of me cannot believe that I find myself more plausible on working in animation more than making webtoons or manga. Because back then as a kid, I thought that making manga is like the way to go, or making webtoons is the way to go. No, I think I much prefer to animate instead. I really couldn't see myself making a manga for some reason. Which is, a part of me is like, it's kind of like a shame. It feels like a wasted opportunity. But then a part of me is like, yeah, it's kind of, either way, it's both hellish. Animating is a pain in the ass. Or drawing in general. Oh yeah, if you don't notice, this animation is getting longer and longer. It's now on 3 or 4 seconds. Almost 4 seconds. I really want to get better at digital and do all sorts of stuff like painting, short indie animes, even mangas. But just thinking about all the work needed already drives me down. Yeah, that's the that's the that's the not so good part of it. You know, that's the part where it's kind of hard to imagine. I'm painfully unstable mentally, sometimes, especially. And it's so unpredictable. If I take a certain commitment, especially if it's a long time commitment, it just seems like, can you really do this? And do you really enjoy this? You know, all sorts of questions pops out. Part of me is like, is this insecurity or is this just me considering? And me trying to learn if this is actually something I want to do or not. Or is it something I like? Four is a bit too much, but I'm gonna copy this 2 layers, I guess. Okay, this is where I completely test things out. And, you know, I'm not too sure about it. But might as well try it. Okay, I'm gonna changed a bit. But is it the same? I did copy it, but I'm not too sure. Like, same. Okay, it is. These actually, let me actually organize my layers for a bit because so yes, the organization is kind of important on this one. And I just need to copy these two. Get that. But it's not visible, so go here. I think it's not popping out. Yeah, it's not popping out on OBS because it's kind of like a new window. Okay, that's the wrong one. Hey, thanks for the follow. Where were we? It looks much more natural. Kind of. It's good enough. Standards are low here. I'll probably do a separate file for... What do you call this? For the next scene? Because I want the next scene to be like... also kind of zoomed in of the shot. So I don't have to animate legs anymore also. I'm gonna cheese my way to this animation. It's so jittery. It's fine. I think you can see the madness of layers here on the side. swear to God, my brush is always... It was like it's changing. Oh god, do you guys hear the drilling? Shit again. There's no follow through I should do. Or add. Guess I should or shouldn't be using a smear here because it's not working. What? Oh, is it going up already? There we go. And the smears aren't working. I think I'm gonna get some sleep to work better, or else I'm not finishing this on time. Later. By the way, do you have a Discord server to notify when the stream goes up? Or is it like luck based whether or not you see it live? I do post it on my Instagram. I sometimes do it on Discord, but yeah, we do have a Discord server. You can get the invite from Bashi or on my Patreon page. But for the most part, I don't really schedule my streams. Oh, no wonder. It's on 3 frames. Was a nice animation. Thanks. Also, thanks for joining in, dude. Have a great night. I'm also sleepy, by the way. We're already been animating for like 3 hours. I would pretty much call this a day already. But this is all. This is not even like the whole thing just yet. It's so, man, the playback is so terrible here. I can't deal with it. I have to export this in order for me to like see the actual animation, because my computer is laggy. I guess it has to do something with my processor. My processor is so weak. But it's just a test only, it's fine. What happened to my bitrate? Why is she gray? My bitrate not going well? Oh, I burped. Oh, is it done exporting? I didn't realize. Well, let's save this and make a new file. It's not what I meant to do, but okay. Oh, wrong button. Camera folder. Actually, I don't think I need a camera folder, but I mean, it helps being organized, I guess. Can I wonder if I can still push through. How long has it been? How long are we been streaming? I mean, we can just chill for now, I guess. A part of me is like, I guess I'll be doing this offline instead. Because we're running at, what, almost 3 hours? I don't think I can stream anymore further. So for now, that's enough animating. I can't show you guys the full outcome just yet. So we'll just chill, chat. And goddamn dog is so fucking loud there. I hate our neighbor. I swear to God. Hate our neighbor. Every fucking animal, every fucking single person there is noisy. I swear to God. And I am free to talk shit about them as much as I like because they are not good fucking people. Let's be fucking real here. They literally have a rapist. But anyways, I don't hear the dog. Good for you, fam. Good for you guys. Because I can hear them in 4K. And they do it all the time. This dog moves all the time. And God knows they are not taking care of that dog. They only keep it for like, I don't know, security. So yeah. That's why I have to. I've been thinking of like buying earbuds or what do you call them? Earplugs. Just to get rid of this noise. I mean, I do have like those earphones of like in-ear monitors. They kind of work like an earplug, but you can still hear noise, that's for sure. But it does reduce it, you know, in a much more bearable state. But yeah. Oh, by the way, I'm actually considering buying a Steam Deck. Then I realized Steam Deck is actually not officially available here, right? I mean, we can buy them in like some stores, local gaming stores and stuff like that. But you won't. I don't think you will get the official stuff on Steam, like warranty and extra goodies, which is a shame. Steam Deck seems like Switch for Steam. Yeah, basically, basically sum it up. Uh, yeah, it just basically doesn't have like the removable Joy Cons or removable controllers, and I think it's definitely bigger. Heaps bigger than the Switch. But I really don't like Nintendo's subscription thingy. Like, why do I need to pay monthly or yearly for an account to play a device that I already paid for? I hate that type of shit. They're kind of like the Apple of video game consoles. The Pokemon subscription is terrible. And it's a shame. there's only like one game that I want to play. Actually, two. Two games that I just want to play, and they're from Nintendo. They're gatekept by Nintendo. And that's Kirby and Bayonetta. Actually, I think you can play Bayonetta on PC. So I guess only Kirby. And other games are pretty much available on Steam, I think. Like Monster Hunter and shit. But honestly, I'm not even interested to Pokemon. I've only played the old games. And I think I much prefer it that way. Because visually, the new games is not that good. Like, people are gonna debate, oh, it's fun anyways. Like, at this point, Pokemon fans are like being gaslit. And their standards are so fucking lower than their blood pressure. Like, as long as they have the cute shit, Pokemons, that's good enough for them. Oh yeah, me and Onion failed to kill that boss in Don't Starve. Which one? Man, I find it hard to kite in Don't Starve. But that's probably me struggling with the keyboard and mouse. I'm still pissed off that I cannot play Don't Starve in controller. Apparently, it's a common problem. That it's quite a struggle to get the controls working. Get the controls working on Don't Starve together. Pokemon is the most gaslighted fandom in the world. Oh yeah, and also don't mistake me from like, oh, I just hate Pokemon, I hate Game Freak. It's not that, I don't think. I actually like Pokemon. Like, for fuck's sake, I played some of their games. And it's not the main ones. And it is fun. But that's the problem. It's always the games, not from the official developer. You know, Game Freak. The large bear thing we found. Oh. I forgot what that boss is called. I think Pokemon fans know they aren't getting a good game anymore, so they take any drop they can get. Yeah, pretty much. Pretty much sums it up. Honestly, if they just stick to Pixel, Game Freak can handle it. But for some reason, Game Freak is just so... what do you call it? Outdated. They just cannot catch up to what other gaming companies or studios are able to brought up. Like, you can see some graphic intensive games, quote unquote, graphic intensive. I mean, I guess it is intensive for the Switch. And if you compare it to the new Pokemon games, it just looks like a fucking joke. Like the visuals. Like, yeah, I'm staring at a fucking stock picture of a rock, thanks. We decided to kill the large bear boss with another boss and make it into a kaiju fight. I mean, yeah, that is a strat on Don't Starve. But I still wish I can play it on controller. These are the type of games that it's like I much prefer playing on controller. Cause I cannot bear with the mouse, bro. Cause sometimes do I press the button or do I press my mouse? So many glitches in Scarlet Violet are meme worthy. I mean, that's the thing though. Some parts or some sections like Pokemon, for example, like their character designs or you know, little things like that. Pokemon designs and stuff like that. They're good. Some game mechanics, some improvement here and there. But then you get reminded by the other more shitty stuff. Like, is it even worth it? Or if you even compare it to other games, then it's just like, bruh, like actual bruh. It just feels like an outdated game, basically. So yeah, the conclusion or my opinion is basically, I'd rather play Kirby. I'd rather play Kirby. PvP competitive in Scarlet Bundle is considered the best in years since Mega Evolution era. Yeah, you basically have like trade-offs, pros and cons. There are better stuff, and there's just stuff that didn't improve or looks outdated. I'm just scrolling on my social media. There's this social media, I think, application that my friend is inviting me, or our friends, my friends, is like inviting me to. It's kind of like The Sims, but it's you, and you're customizing shit. It's basically reminds me of that line game. But then a part of me is like, I already have a fuck ton of apps on my phone. I guess I'll download it for fun. Oh, and I remember from the old games of Pokemon, there's this terrible mechanic of like, I think it has something to do with the stats. Like, players have to fucking cheat, quote unquote, or manipulate some stats of the Pokemon in order to like get the fucking stats that they want. I'm not using the right terms here, but it's kind of like that. Because if you do it in game, it's gonna take forever because you're basically like what, trying to catch the right Pokemon that you want to min max it or make it good for competitive play. I think they improved it around Arceus, I think. And it's actually a mechanic that I didn't or wasn't aware of. But apparently it's a thing. I mean, there are a lot of mechanics that wasn't even introduced well for me. Or maybe that's just me not reading the tutorials that well. Pokemon competitive has some many cheated in Pokemon because some of the Pokemon are unavailable. Yeah, it's pretty much uh a vast majority, I think, is like cheating. And I'm saying quote unquote cheating because isn't even cheating? They're not exactly winning. They're just trying to get rid of like fucking bureaucracy in fucking Pokemon. You know, the tedious shit. For them to prep up for competitive play. Because if you go with like the natural or I guess the game intended you to play with, yeah, you're gonna take forever. So basically they have to use tools. Yeah, IV training, there we go. They have to use tools, basically fucking cheat in order to like get it to fucking stand they want. And honestly, I don't fucking blame them. Like, do you even experience the fucking grindiness that you have to fucking face? Especially, I guess this is pretty much present in all games. But the grindiness aspect, I hate that the most in games. I mean, if it's the boring kind, yeah, it's just a fucking chore. But if it's a grind that is like, super rewarding, then why not? But if it's a fucking grind that is just boring every time to the point that it's a chore, I don't like it. But yeah, basically, games that were not made by Game Freak is fine. Like, games made by different studios looks much more better for some reason. Like, they're doing a much more better job. Like, then goddamn Game Freak themselves. And also, this might be it might be also because of my biases. This kind of RPG, in particular, like, you press this choice to do this, stuff like that. It gets pretty boring for me. It gets boring for me pretty fast. Which one? Oh, there's a lot, bro. Pokemon Snap, Pokemon Go, and pretty much a lot of games in mobile. But I guess that makes sense. It's Bandai Namco. They're pretty much experienced to the whole game industry. But come on. Oh, and I've been thinking of buying a new game on Steam recently. I mean, I don't have the fucking time to play, unfortunately, but might as well get a heads up on which to buy. How is Project Zomboid early access? Is this game not finished? I'm so fucking surprised. I'm like looking at my Steam library right now, or wish list. And actually, it's kind of a shame. I actually do like RPG games, but for some reason, I don't like that type of game where you know, you press a choice. Basically, similar mechanic to Pokemon, to the main Pokemon games. It gets old for me, pretty fast. Like the first half of the game, I'm like, oh, I'm getting into this, and like I'm gonna use this choice, and let's see how it goes. Maybe I'll heal. It's definitely not fast paced, well, that's for sure. And I guess it's because I got so used to fast paced games, or where I just mash my buttons to win. I got so used to that to the point that just relaxing and reading the game isn't like gets really boring for me that fast. Are you able to play Don't Starve tomorrow? Because that's when me and Onin plan to make that kaiju fight. Not sure. Maybe I can join. Also, I actually made the wrong fucking choice. Apparently, characters in Don't Starve. They have like their pros and cons and stuff like that. Apparently, Woody is not that good. Woody is like kinda terrible. I mean, he's pretty much good for early game, but I don't think we're at the early game anymore. He's terrible at picking up stuff. He's slow when attacking. He's basically slow in general. Oh yeah, every name in Don't Starve is like starting in the W. Except for Maxwell, I guess. Because I used to be super into the Don't Starve lore back then. Back then when it's super vanilla. But yeah, Woody is shit, apparently. No, the choices I make. It's a newbie. What happened to my music? I literally got a video about Woody being the worst after the game. He's only good for early game. Because if you transform to like one of these rare versions, like the duck for example, you can get the island or find the island or scout much more faster. But yeah, he's just the worst. There's too many cons instead of the fucking pros. Actually, he's not as bad as West though. that, let's make that clear. West is still our homeboy king of being the worst because he is meant to be the worst. I'm not sure if we can change your character. I think you have to use a function for that. It's a tad bit complicated, basically. You have to like... I have to kill my character, kind of? Or just drop everything. I forgot where it was. Because we're using a server, right? Yeah, a console command. Oh my god, my mic is falling off. I just realized. Why is it falling off? There we go. Yep, a server. Yeah, it's gonna... I'm worried that it might make the server kind of buggy or destroy everything. I mean, I can stick to Woody. But expect that I'm not gonna be that productive. Because he's worse at picking up stuff, apparently. He's still also bad at chopping woods. But he's basically the worst when it comes to combat. I literally cannot kite with him. For some reason. But then again, that maybe just be me struggling to kite in this fucking game. Because I'm using mouse and control and keyboard. I want my controller, man. Oh, let me zoom in. You can do this one too. But it doesn't really accurately play it. But basically, the next shot is just a continuation of this. Did this? Oh, how many hours have it been? Oh, it's 4 o'clock already. No, that's fine. Or maybe I'm just bad at survival games. I don't think I've ever played survival games. I can't think of a game back then if I played as a kid. We actually never played Minecraft as a kid, which is surprising. Surprising, I guess. I guess I played Terraria, but that's just yeah. It's not as hard, I guess, compared to Don't Starve, because in Don't Starve you're just perma dying. Perma losing health, perma losing hunger. Come on, you witnessed me die to a bee. I mean, I died to the fucking dark, bro. Or Charlie. I forgot Charlie exists. Or you know, the what do you call this? The boogeyman. Let's just call her the boogeyman. If you have no light at all. I've been thinking of picking Wiggerbottom. But man, who was the Viking again? Wigfried? This one character is just overtuned, bro. Like, you can just AFK attack. Like, any fucking creature that you can see, and you'll just be fine. Like, the balancing in this game is insane. It's definitely not balanced. And I thought League of Legends isn't balanced. God damn. Oh yeah, I have a couple of Cuphead in my wish list. Actually, most of the games that I've been looking, or typically keeping an eye on, are a bunch of indie games. I just like indie games, I guess. But then at the same time, most indie games that I just come across to is just visually pleasing. And that's pretty much it. But dying to a beast, the most pathetic death in Don't Starve. I found that. I mean, you can. People pretty much kite them. I mean, I suck at kiting on this game. I don't know why. I can't. Well, if it's no lag or might just me just struggling with the keyboard and mouse. Oh, and yeah, I bought a mouse now. It's not good, but at least it's wired, so I don't have any problems when it comes to latency. Hopefully, because the problem, despite wireless is the future, I don't think it's the future, honestly, because wired stuff is just much more better in terms of latency. I remember using my Bluetooth earphones, and they're terrible in this laptop. It's good on my phone, kinda, and my tablet, but for my laptop it just doesn't work. This is why wired is still the way to go. Why is everybody removing the headphone jack? I hate it. Wigfried or Wendy? I guess they're actually Wendy is also kind of good. Wendy is the epitome of just AFK. AFK to like fight the enemies. Weber is kind of weak, and other characters are just too many cons, I guess. Again. And I finally found the Don't Starve Together wiki. Or the list of goddamn dishes. I tried out Wickerbottom, but I couldn't get the books completed, which is a shame, so I couldn't use the spells that much. Maybe you can try Weber or the robot. Weber is really not that good. Unless you want spider farms. Because if you use the spiders for boss battles, they just die instantly. So you have to have like a ton of resources. Weaker bottom is like the best bet now, I guess. Why didn't it give me the characters? What the heck? Oh, I just, the feeling of having a mouth ulcer just dawned on me. It's like the pain is a bit getting more worse. So, oh no, this is bad. Oh yeah, there's also this one character. What was her name? Winona? No, if I remember correctly. We're just rambling about Don't Starve now. Winona. He basically makes catapults? Basically crafting weapons. She's good at battles, I think. Another AFK, just let the catapults do the thing. Like, yep, that's definitely my playstyle. Just AFK farm. AFK. Oh yeah, I should also try out the this strategy on Hades, another video game. You can actually win against Hades, you know, the final boss battle, just by AFKing. I actually want to try that. It's so funny. It's so funny too. Because you're just standing there. You're taking all the hits, but the boss is also dying because of it. I think there's a bunch of videos on how to set that up. I really want to try that one also. Forgot who the fire girl is. Forgot also. But most of their names are just W's. Those are the characters. This Wikipedia of Don't Starve is like outdated. Everything is outdated. It's no more to work. Wilson. Was it Willow? Oh yeah, it's Willow. She needs to burn shit though. I'm surprised, what was his name? Was it Maxwell? Is he not here? Or, is he not playable? I forgot. Oh, and he's the only one that doesn't have, like, the name starting with a W. Everyone else has, like, a W. That's the first letter. Man, I used to fucking rave with this type of shit. Like, the lore. It used to be, like, at the same phase when I was, like, super into like Five Nights at Freddy's lore, and whatever that game theory or MatPat is like putting out, basically. But that's like years ago. Can I see the results of this animation? I fell asleep at my desk in the video. Let me actually set set my screen. Did you? I couldn't play here on Lipsio Faint, unfortunately, because it's not gonna render well. And it's just, you know, a case of my computer not being good. Let me set things up. My window capture. Video, where's my video? Nope, it's not that one. It's not showing it. What? Pen tablet. Where's my movies and TV? OBS, please, for the love of God. Everyone's name starts with a W. Yeah. That's what I'm saying. Okay, I couldn't open it. Is it this? Nope. Still not showing it. Great, I have to find a different player. Because if I play it here, I have to zoom out. And it's not rendering it well. As you can see. It kind of works. It's so jagged. Yeah, and this is why I don't like Clip Studio Paint's playback. It's so crap. Actually, let me try this one. Let me try this trick. Okay, people are getting noisy outside. Let's see if this runs smoothly. How many seconds is this? Now that I think about it. Oh, we reached 4 seconds. Let's go. So 4 seconds of animation in 3 or 4 hours. Actually, in only 3 hours, I think. Everyone is switching to Clip Studio for some reason, but I keep hearing the playback is real bad. Yeah, the playback is terrible. It's so the rendering is bad. See, it has, like, you can see it's kind of jagged. But if I use like my generic video player, it kind of works fine. But this might be a problem because you know, this is an animation that is like 1 second longer, so it takes a while to render in. So it is a kind of a shame. You're making your own anime ending part 1. Part 1 out of 100, that's for sure. This is why I couldn't show you guys like the final results. Oh, actually, okay, now I remember. I remember how to fucking add a video now. Okay, let me just open and loop it out. I can finally show you guys. I mean, the difference is gonna be like not even that huge. But hey, this is gonna be better than looking at whatever clips you is showing us. Hey, there we go. This is sized poorly. This isn't still not. We still have like the other scenes to do, like basically a continuation of this scene. But I have to use a separate file for it because I cannot animate longer than this, or else my files or my layers over here is gonna go crazy. Like if you look at it right now, let me put this aside. Like if you look right here on my layers, it's on the folder, it's tidy, but if we try to look at it, look at this. Look at this. We don't have like the cleanup, the designs, the colors. We're not even halfway there, bro. And there's already like probably 50 layers. So yeah, animating is quite an insane feat. let's hide that. It's gonna look overwhelming all the time. But yeah, I guess that's it for today. It's 4:30. That's enough for me. So thank you guys for joining me today. We couldn't have like a longer chill time, unfortunately. A longer stream, unfortunately. I'll probably stream more often in the future. It's just there's this construction and noises going on in me having this mouth ulcer. I can stop thinking that you're animating Bully McGuire. Let's go. But anyways, that's bye-bye for me now, guys. That's farewell for me now. Thank you all for coming today. Hope you guys enjoyed this animation. Or me animating stream. Kinda boring today. No fighting animation, sadly. But that will be coming soon. And what I mean by coming soon, maybe next year. But who knows, it might be sooner or later. And that's it. That's all for me. Oh my god, I can't talk in English, unfortunately. But thanks again, you guys, for joining me today. Hope you guys have a great day, great night, and all that good stuff. And see you all later. Bye bye. Peace out.